All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Thursday 1 p.m. stream. Back with Bookmap, and unfortunately, ES has been nothing but a bit of a chop fest all day today, except for the morning 30 minutes. Nasdaq is exceptionally more bullish, although still a little bit slow. So, in terms of Bookmap, the big signal we've gotten is kind of this little drawdown was prefaced by a couple of large lot orders that hit the tape. Sell orders. A little bit of drawdown, but other than that, volume is still very, very light. After yesterday afternoon's craziness, Nasdaq is still up 1.5%. No real drawdown on Nasdaq except for about I don't know 20 points. So nothing crazy. Apple's not moving. Nvidia's not moving. Nothing's really moving right now. Russell, Dow, XLF has gotten smoked today, so they're the outlier. In fact, they're the two of only 10 of the X sectors are red. One of them is XLF and the other one's XLRE. Everything else is quite green. VIX has not moved at all. So outside of the big pre-market flow, volume has kind of dropped off. We're really looking for overall flow. Over the entire session, we had 5150 and 5155 overnight. They quickly filled that this morning and have been here ever since. They've got 5165 on. They're putting on 5225. And they're building 5115 for a very large order. So the whole theme this whole week has been aggressive movement up and down. Big buy-ups, big sell-offs. Overall, we're up about 500 points from Tuesday's lows on NASDAQ, give or take. Yeah, so we went from 830 to 320. So, yeah, roughly 500 points, a little bit less. Crazy stuff. So we have Fed Powell had his testimony today and yesterday, not event. But where do we go from here is the question. We've had some very high volume the past two sessions. Today appears we're going to finish well below those volume areas, which in and of itself I would interpret as bullish. The fact that sellers cannot close anything. We haven't had a single down candle finish without any kind of buy up in many, many weeks of any kind of real range, I should say. What's up, people on YouTube? How you doing? You think it'll go down due to high volume? Not right now. Yesterday was a bit of a question mark. But today we are right back up to the top of the range on incredibly light volume and terrible volume. But it really depends. You know, I'm always, anytime I see a lack of volume, you always have to give the thought. You always have to give the bulls the benefit of the doubt. They always tend to win on low volume, for the most part. Of course, we have a couple of red flags, red occurrences out there like yesterday afternoon stuff. But overall, the fact that today they bought up such aggression and then on low volume, you got to give the tie to the buyer here. But until then, we play what we see. Nvidia, of course, is new all-time highs again, 920, and even more, $30+ million worth of outside the money call strikes above the ask were paid today, upwards and into 1,000 strike. Some in the money, some at the money, some well beyond the money. How you doing, Unknown? What's up? Buying to close? We'll see. Oh, I'm started to talk? Yeah, I did. I'm here. I pinged everybody, though, so. There hasn't been too much actionable on ES literally the whole day. You could got long on NQ and made some decent money if you wanted to sit through the slow grindiness. ES is not paying. Russell hasn't really done much today except for the morning sesh. And going. Discord stream started 103. Interesting. That's weird. Yeah, I started it 4 minutes before 1 o'clock, so I don't know. I don't know why it started a little late. It's gonna rug. We're chop fest for now. Well, the big thing for me is yesterday. This stuff yesterday with high volume, a lot of volatility. You don't see this stuff unless we're ready to make a move. So that's the first thing. We were kind of just discussing that. At what point do we start to drop? And first, you need the sellers to capitulate. The more you short, the higher this market's going to go. They need to get you out of those positions first. And we haven't yet seen any really selling climactic activity. We've gotten close. We've had some high volume spikes, but the buyers have continued to bottom wick. None of the sellers have been able to close the deal, which means that seller participation here is real light in terms of on the institutional level. Right now, they're just farming. Yeah, we're at the top of the channel too. Yeah, the quick we went from bottom to top. Oil. Let me go for a flipping load oil. So take a look at this. We did put on 51.15. ES is up to, we have 51.66. Nothing really above. They had 5,200 at 412 orders. Took that off. They have 52.25. That's a level up there. And I don't see much else up here. Ooh, they had on. They had at 53.50. Took that off. That's interesting. Whatever the crap that is. Apparently 5400 has smallpox. And that's about it. Took off the 5000. 47.75 is back on. So that guy was on there last week. They took it off at the beginning of the week and now it's back on. So liquidity kind of being spread out here. New addition to Bookmap, for me at least, I've added the large order tracker, which has helped me identify when we're coming into supply or demand. It's been pretty neat. Nearly on point. What volume indicator to use on TradingView? I use just the basic vol indicator. Volume, which is the red and green bars, and I also use the volume profile through Lux Algo. That gives me the volume profile and your typical volume. And both of those right now are saying monocerebus. Don't touch. Powell says that the interest rates right now are well into restrictive territory. We are far from neutral. They want to start to restore the federal funds rate back towards neutral. There you go. You know what's interesting, though? Interest rates are typically, the economy is typically looked at as healthy if it maintains between like 5 and 5.5. Anything lower than that is considered a supported economy. Anything more than that is considered a restricted economy. Typically. I mean, people don't realize, like, before all this craziness, normal interest rates were right where we are now. And then before that, you know, from people from the 80s experienced, 12 to 15%. So it's curious where they're going to head with this and what they consider the new normal. I managed SPY calls this morning and left a couple of runners. Watching them the last couple hours has been less entertaining than watching paint dry. Yep. That's why I prefer to just kind of sit here and wait until the afternoon session in the event that we do move. Yeah, so it's treated you well. This whole week has treated you well to kind of just chill out the first hour or so of this afternoon stuff in the middle of the day. Right now, the main strike is right here at 67. That's the main target. Stock split on Nvidia will be so juicy. Dude, you know it. You know it. $51.60 right there. Nasdaq is coming back up. Yeah, I would expect them to split eventually. One for manages the books a little bit better, open up a couple more clientele, because I'm sure that all the jabronis are no longer able to access Nvidia product with it being so expensive. Kind of like it's reaching Amazon territory a couple of years ago. So aside from ES having the main strike here at 67, you see them a little bit up here at 51.70 overall. We just got to get through the chop first. And unfortunately, it may continue until the top of the hour, because the afternoon session usually kicks off right about 1400 Eastern, give or take. Refresh. With partial shares being more and more common among smaller retail investors, do you think stock splits will have a smaller direct effect in the future? No, because partials don't offer much shareholder value. I think it still comes down to shareholder value and how they can manage books. And a traditional stock split is going to do a lot more for the average shareholder than trading partials. You're welcome. Good question, though. I like it. I'm glad I full ported into puts. I thought this might be a bullish day. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Absolutely garbage so far. So not really worth trading anything. Take a look at oil, CL. They've got all the stuff here at 79.80 after a nice little recovery on their chart. They got beat down and then bounced. ES is 51.80. A day like today, you got to buy yourself time, especially if you're long or you want to be long. You got to buy yourself time. A little bit of green. Is there a possible double top on SPY? Volume's too light to tell. Earlier at the first rejection at about 12 o'clock, 12:15, we had a large lot sell order that dipped. So unless you see any of that large lot stuff come on, or any large icebergs or any order fills come up here, I wouldn't necessarily look to play a rejection. Not to mention, we just had another rejection that's immediately being bought. So this is indicative, like we kind of have that little trend where if you've got a resistance and you do this and this and this, and the rejections get tighter and tighter. Eventually, you're going to go blip right there. And that's kind of what we're looking at here. Now, if this were an ascending wedge, like the price action like this, yeah, we'd look to play the downside. But that's not what we have. We have a horizontal resistance. We keep on testing the resistance, getting tighter and tighter, meaning sellers are dissipating, and then eventually we're going to clear, and boom. You know, like that dude Morgan from Walking Dead. I gotta clear. Yeah, that's what buyers have to do now. They have to clear. A little bit green, a little bit green. This is where you're going to get like the afternoon breakout. Is that once it does clear, you'll get that blam, and people will go, "Whoa, LFG, let's go," that type of thing. But you got to be patient for it. I'm looking for any kind of signs of life here on the order flow. 5167 is the obvious, right up in here. I was down to my last 35 bucks on my prop 2 days ago, and now my trailing stop is back to 500. Beautiful, cheerio. VIX is dumping. It's got a little red. It's got a little red. We've been using our R2 as support all day long. Significant level that has now turned from an SR flip. Right there. Dollar dumping the second day. Cup and handle on SPX. Interesting. I don't track cup and handles. Couldn't even tell you how to draw it. Last Nvidia stock split was announced, $5.60 a share. Interesting. Still waiting. Very boring stuff, of course. I know. I know. 18.813. Let's watch this candle. Right here. How many top steps accounts can you have at the same time? I believe 3. Although I've heard some talk that they increased it to 5. Just looking around here, seeing if I can get an edge. VIX is about to test down to low of the day. So right now, call buying has been pretty flat, although elevated, but it's not increasing is what I'm saying. Put buying has increased, so they are beginning to position themselves into puts up here in these areas. Apple's flat, Microsoft is flat, Tesla is call selling, Google, a lot of call buying in Google. They went nuts today. That makes sense. Whenever you say they're getting destroyed, I know it's relative, but I always think about those scenes in movies where ants are in a battle or something. They zoom out, it's just a normal summer's day. Yeah. Yeah. That run today is scandalous. On NASDAQ? Yeah. It's crazy, dude. I mean, even ES went up like 60 points. I like their new cheaper prices and one rule. There you go. Guess I should have held that Google swing call. Yeah, that thing's going crazy, dude. Crazy. No movement. No movement. Yeah, Top Step's a great company, man. How do you teach yourself to hold momentum trades? Oh man. Well, the first step in holding trends is to understand that most of the time you're not going to be able to. Whether emotions come into play or one reason or another, you get stopped out. So it's the acceptance of that and the understanding that I'm only looking to capture 2 or 3 trends a quarter. Once you accept that and not get wrapped up in the Twitter sphere of catch every trend YOLO for real, no cap on God, bro. Church, period. Like no printer. Now I'm just saying words. Once you understand that, you can start to relieve the stress on yourself to be able to perform. And all you have to do is, one, turn the position sizing down. Figure out at which point is a great opportunity to enter, like a VPA signal, 3-candle pattern, VPA, Bookmap tips you off, whichever it is, your system, and take entry, and then set a smart calculated trailing stop that's based on something on the chart, not your P&L. And most of the time, you'll still get stopped out for profits, small profits, big profits. But sometimes, every now and then, you'll catch a runner, and the market will run on you, and you'll get 200 or 300 points. So it's part of it. I keep seeing trades and getting my thesis right, but never seem to be able to hold for max profit. Well, you're not going to be able to very often, and that's the whole. Now, if we're talking about short dated trading, you're not going to be able to hold for max profits very often. It's just the market is too difficult on the short time frame to hold for max profit. If you're interested in holding for a lot more trends in max profits like that, you need to take long dated options or futures or stocks and hold it through drawdown within reason and into the move. That's the only real advice I've got for you. Now, if you're doing short dated options, I go back to what I just said a couple minutes ago. You're not going to be able to do it very often. Every now and then, like I said, 2 or 3 times a quarter. If I can catch a big trend, I'll make my quarter. And that's all you need. End of March is end of Q1. I wonder where they're going to pin it. Whew, man, you ain't kidding. We still have a lot of month left, too. This is slower than molasses on a crisp winter morning with snow on the ground. That was funny. Yeah. All right. Come on now. We got 59, 2200 CVD. NASDAQ still has the 18350. Well, speaking of holding long-term of NMQ, would you be considered reasonable drawdown? Is that percentage of an account? Yeah, I mean that percentage of an account, depending on your account size, definitely. For me, if I'm looking to trade, if I'm in like 2 or 3 or MNQs, which I never trade on my normal account. All right, so my normal entry on futures from my personal account is going to be ES. I normally trade ES. I don't dip into NQs, Nasdaqs, or MNQs on my personal account. It's usually all ES or SPX options. That's just what I'm comfortable with trading with, quote unquote, real money. If I'm taking an ES futures that I intend to hold for a couple of weeks, I don't mind letting that thing draw down 40, 50 points if I've got a macro multi-month thesis. Now, of course, I'm not going to sit there and let that thing go down. I'm going to trade against it. And at a certain point, yeah, I'll stop out. Because you have to use those products for the benefit of the fact of why you're trading them. They're leveraged, and they don't have the Greeks. So it really depends on the style of trade you're in, what your thesis is, what's your predefined R&R, and what your account size is. And once you do that, you'll be able to really figure out what your drawdown is. Starship Troopers are not small bugs. Oh my gosh. NASDAQ is going to attempt another high here. The S&P is doing the same. Rivian unveils R2 SUV. R2 SUV starts around 45 G's. 300 points is great. I barely get 100 points. I'll tell you what, Artsoul, the times that I catch those trends, usually it's an overnight trade that I'm sleeping through, that I just have a good thesis on, that doesn't hit my stop, and that I'm not monitoring. If I'm sitting here at the computer with my butt in the seat, most likely, I'm going to stop myself out of the trade because I'm jabroni. So my best trades come when I am away from the computer. Either I'm, at the gym, or I'm sleeping, or I'm just not watching it, and I just don't hit my stop. So set your stop, set your bracket orders, and take your hands off is probably the best thing you can do as a trader. Predefine your risk and reward, get away from the computer, and it'll be better. Ooh, man, look at that. Jeez. I entered a put because I accidentally switched my time frame to 1 minute and thought it was dumping. I'm a jabroni. Yeah. Got to be aware of that. We're all jabronis. Don't worry about it. Shake it off. All right, here's the new high in SPY. Now watch out for the LFG candle. We need to come up with a name for that candle. The wow candle, I guess. You know that alien signal where the dude wrote like wow and then exclamation mark on it? The wow signal or something like that in space? It's going to be like one of those. First attempt, top wick. Moon hands, oh my gosh. The boomstick candle, I like that. I like that. So if we can hold this candle, you'll see it. In the next probably 15 minutes, you'll see the bleh. It might not be too aggressive because the volume is kind of light. Maybe it won't even happen until 2:05. Thought it used to be called the Shrek candle. Yeah. Yeah, Shrek candle. We've been getting end of week bullish moves for multiple weeks in a row. That seems macro bullish, right? I mean, yeah. There's no denying. Yeah, we've certainly had a lot more selling the past 2 weeks than usual, but the end result has been higher. So yeah, I mean, yeah. I think to classify this environment currently is bullish, with bearish participation increasing. Swing lightsaber. Your Schwartz is almost big as mine. Yeah. How long would a bearish trend last? I feel like we've exceeded the multi-week sell-off from the summer and the fall duration. Well, the bullish trends are always going to be longer than the bearish trends until like we have some sort of black swan event or catalyst or something like that. The market always goes up. I wouldn't want to make that comparison. You're welcome, Mark. Appreciate the question, buddy. Good stuff. The big banana, I like it. Thoughts on Nvidia short term? No cap. FR. I mean, honestly, in all seriousness, I mean, what thoughts can you have on this weekly chart? That's the weekly chart on a $2 trillion company. That's the weekly chart. It's obscene. It's obscene. SPY. SPY is trying to give us that little push. There goes NASDAQ Aroni trying to do it. Is there any reason to expect a reversal at all? I wouldn't expect anything, in my opinion. If you are someone who wants a reversal, cool. Just wait for the signs. Right now, it's just bottom wick everything. The only swings that would have worked the past week and a half, 2 weeks, is entering a call at the end of day and closing it at the bell or sometime in the morning. That's the only swing that would have worked. Other than that, taking anything long term would not have paid because everything's being whipsawed. Here comes the move. Watch. Breaking the new highs. Do you see that? Hey, we talked about this in tier 2 last week. Bam, 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 and then blip. Maybe not that high. That's a little aggressive. Maybe like right here. This is called absorption. This is all about liquidity flows, and right now we've got absorption. This was the main strike. We talked about this morning. We had the 3 correlations right here. The 3 pillars, I should say. VWAP, or not VWAP, holy crap. VPA, liquidity, options. They all correlated with a strike of right here. That's why we've been sitting here all day, and now the buyers have absorbed. Sellers are like, I'm good, bro. I'm going to chill, play a little Call of Duty. You know, eat some Doritos, Hot Pockets, and off we go. NVIDIA runs on earnings, so we really won't have a catalyst to sell until they miss earnings, which is a possibility in future quarterly earnings. Whew, man, who knows, dude? I honestly, I mean, normally, I mean, I don't know if I even agree with that, because right now NVIDIA is not running on fundamentals. It's not running on. Yes, you're right. I mean, NVIDIA did hit earnings, and I don't really see them missing anytime soon. But that stock's not running on fundamentals. It's running on pure mania, euphoria. The only way a stock runs like this, you know, on pure fundamentals, is if they cure cancer, or, you know, world hunger, or they create a sustainable free energy source. Although I guess if that were the case, they'd go down because it's free. You know what I mean? But certainly not on computer chips. Whoa, I did have some Doritos. I'll tell you what, though. Although the cheese Doritos are not my favorite chip, but if I had to choose one potato chip to bring to a deserted island, it'd be the cheese Dorito. because it's always like consistent. It's always like, man, this is good. It's never like I'm not in the mood for it. When I want a chip, that one's always suffices, even if it's not my all-time favorite. It's consistent. $515. Not even a sweep to move higher. Well, Kit, I mean, we kind of had it. We kind of had it. This is why there's two different setups to these type of wedges that you need to learn the pattern. We talked about patterns earlier. You need to learn. Hold on, I'll get this. You know, you've got two types of wedges. You have the ascending wedge like this. Price action that does this. You know, kind of steps in here and then drops. And then you've got the wedge or the pennant that is what we're experiencing now, which looks like this. And that's what we're experiencing here today, where we hit big drawdown, smaller drawdown, and then we kind of pin and then blah. So this one to me is going to be a little bit bearish. So this one is going to be more of the bearish, and this one's going to be more of the bull for me. Ah, crap. All right, I was trying to color code it, but and to me, it's all about the liquidity. Because in my eyes, the way I think about things is that this tells me that this is the supply and this is the supply. This one tells me that the sellers are already starting to take control because the buyers are weakening. That's why the price action tightens in an upward trajectory, because we're still climbing, but the buyers are weakening. Like if you were to take a bouncy ball and bounce it on the ground, the higher it goes, the slower it's going to go, because, you know, you've got gravity hitting it at 8 meters per second squared. So eventually it's going to slow down, it's going to reach its apogee, and then it's going to come back down. So that's what this is. And it hits the supply, the seller's transaction comes back down, where this one is absorption. The buyers come up, hit the supply, big transaction, again, less transaction, again, less and less sellers as we eat up the supply, and then blast, we go up. So that's the way I interpret these type of wedges. That's why this one here, I'm looking for this, whereas this I'd look for a rejection. If that makes any sense. It's all about managing the supply, managing where the liquidity is. By the way, this thing's cranking. Unfortunately, it's moving pretty slow for positions not to do too well, except for NASDAQ. NASDAQ is up a little bit, another 10 points or so. Would you like to learn more? Yeah, I got some Quest protein chips. Those are delicious. I got the taco flavor Quest protein chips. I wish I had the testosterone flavored Quest protein chips, although that sounds gross. Look at Apple, y'all. Apple's going crazy. New high of the day for Apple. Apple is now green, and the lone red name on the charts is green. NASDAQ, there you go. SPY. Climbing up. Apple, going. Y'all sell some puts on Apple today? NASDAQ, where you at, baby? 840. Will NASDAQ hit the 500 point mark today? They're through the 400 point. Will they get the 500 point? They're right now at 320 points. That'd put us right over 18,400. What will happen tomorrow? It's Green Friday. And I'll tell you at the end of the day. I'm gonna go with Rashke. If you as long as you are on the side of Rashke, you're not gonna get collapses. I know it's terrible. You're not gonna get crushed. Stick with Rashke. So we'll know the last half hour. Rashke said it was going to be neutral to bullish yesterday, and lo and behold, here we are. Yep. Beautiful. I've missed a lot off and on. What are the main principles of Linda Rashke? She's got 12 rules. 12 rules. A 100-point candle would be pure funny now. Kind of like yesterday. All of a sudden we're like, holy crap, like get us all comfy and quiet. And down we go. Do you think the rally will continue or will it go back to VWAP? Judging by that bottom wick right there, I would say we're going to continue up. That's a support resistance flip right there, so I still think it's going to go up. Until we kind of get into this overall liquidity at 18,350 and ES gets through this cat right here, I think that's going to be our fate. We just bottom wick, support resistance flip, and we are just kind of trudging on higher. Based on Rashke yesterday, end of day calls would have worked. Yeah. In fact, on top of that, that's been the theme the whole freaking week. Last week is just take calls in a day and close it when the market opens the next day, and count your tendies. It's been ridiculous. Heck, I'd like to do that. Just blind take calls 10 points outside the money every day, 1 minute before the market closes, and close them every day and see what my net profit would be in a month. Yes, they did. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But all of your Linda tells you to. Yep, that's right. Linda is our sensei. She is. New experiment I should try. I mean, I wouldn't do it blindly. It's just a fun thought. Yeah, the 60-minute on Nasdaq's nuts, and we're gunning for that 500-point move. For me, it's always easy to take puts in the market versus calls. Well, I mean, for me, it's a lot more. The higher you go, the more difficult it is to swing calls, from an emotional standpoint. I don't mind taking calls when we're getting beat down. I mean, I was bullish until third week of February. from a swing capacity. But look at the price action change between October until January, second, third week of Feb, and then look at the price action after. It was clearly bullish up until then, and then very much seller participation after that. So swings haven't been too conducive, except outside of one DTE, two DTE type of stuff up until that point. So the higher you go, the more emotionally difficult it is to take a call. That's just the way the mind works. You know, I realized the reason I like her humor is because she grew up in LA. I live in LA most of my life. There it is. Buy 1150 orders. There's that large lot tracker they just bought. I think you could say wow and all that kind of stuff now. Booyah. There you go. Is her channel worth looking into? I mean, if you like her style of teaching and thoughts, absolutely. She's got a lot of good stuff. The further along we go, the more I think we're going to need you to bring Sensei Linda into the stream like you did Anna. I'd love to. I'd love to. I'd love to. Not yet, no. No. But we are above R3, so we're above all the main pivots here. So, you know, everything out from here is seeing how the new option change position is going to flow and where they're going to stack liquidity, like 5180 right there. So mark 5180 on your charts, 5175, and see what the flow is doing. Man, calls are moving so freaking slow on this stuff. We got to scrub the old nasty radish stuff, lest we get Rashke kicked in the face. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. If we're going to have her on, we probably should stop saying that. You're right. Even though it was never inferred to be at her, it's more like the price action, but yeah, and it rhymes. Still going. They just stacked on 75, stacked on 80, and going. She might be into it. Oh my gosh. Where's liquidity on NASDAQ? Liquidity? They had the main order right there. They just sold, or filled it at 346. Still going. You see that bounce right there, though, man. That's key. That's crucial right there. That retest, you break above, retest, and go. But that pattern is money. It's the second time it's happened the past week and a half, this style of pattern to that degree. It's great. Where to look for option flow? I mean, there's a bunch of products out there. I personally use Spot Gamma and Tradie Ticks. Just the overarching goal is to track where the option chain positioning is. Figuring out where the market's going to play to. Still going. Keep on riding it, baby. Keep on riding it, baby. It's going. We're in breakout phase right here. Puts or destroy. What puts you take, Kennedy? Ah, yeah. Yeah, those things are toast. Apple's going along too, so that's the big flow right here. Apple just killing it right now. Killing it. Call had to save the day. Yeah, they did. Beautiful, man. Well, I'm glad we finally got some decent price action here before the stream had to end. You know, a lot of times this hour is slow. PCSs are eating. Nice, Mr. Fitty. Love it, dude. Love it. My trades right now, I'm in one call, but it's moving very, very slow, despite the fact that it's climbing up here. That's it, though. NASDAQ is top wicked. Big green day for my PCS is not sweating my CCS as much because I'm way out with small positions. Nice, Mr. 50. Nice. What do we have next week on catalysts? I believe next week is CPI, right? The week after is FOMC. That's going to be the big dog of the month. That's going to be fun. I can't wait for that. Man, this thing is still going. Gah. Nutty. Once again, patience, man. You got to wait through all this crap. All the crap. Next week. Nope. Filter out the United States. Yeah, CPI is on Tuesday. Tuesday morning. We also have the 10-year auction on Tuesday, so that's double. 30-year auction on Wednesday. Man, inflation and bond auctions. Retail sales on Thursday. And Friday is meh. So Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be spicy. Spicy. Are there certain conditions like today where you don't look to play the first touch of macro? Potentially. I mean, we're right. Well, you know the deal. So when I see something like this, like, yeah, normally I'm playing rejections off of that stuff, and it still may reject off of it here. But I'm also not going to take a blunt. One, I'm not going to take a short while I'm in this position, and one, I'm certainly not going to take a blunt short off of this action after we finally broke out after being here for 4 hours. So it's kind of one of those things. Environments. It's probably going to act more like a range here. Not to mention we are filling the main liquidity on the chart here at 67, 51.67. So yeah, great question though. Great question. My mind right now is not even tuned into looking for shorts because today it's not statistically in your favor to look for downside positions. If you need a reminder, I mean, we can go back to Friday. That crap. Remember that? Yeah. Not to say we won't dump in the afternoon or something like that. I'm just saying I wouldn't play that stuff unless you saw it, unless it starts to present itself. This is the price action I hate the worst. Yeah, me too. Me too. I don't like this wiki slow grindy stuff myself either, but so I get you. Is it feasible for us to continue to go up how we have been the last 6 weeks until election month, or is it next year? I mean, I don't know, man. We're in kind of uncharted territory here. This is one of the most aggressive moves of all time. So, I don't know. We've never dealt with this much of stimulus before, trillions upon trillions. We've never dealt with this kind of options chain activity before. We've never had trillion-dollar companies make these kind of moves before. So who knows? Could it? Sure. I don't know. I'm just a peon, dude. I wouldn't have thought that we would have done this since October until now with this type with no sell-off, but here we are. How many companies have gone from being in the teens on a price to thousands in 2 to 3 years in the past year? How many? I mean, what is there, like 10 of them now? It's ridiculous. Watch we doji on the daily chart. That would be nasty. If we did doji on the daily chart, that would be selling climax. I mean, if we sold this thing off. So, is it feasible for us to continue to go up? I already answered that. Browning's 5179.83 magnet. Well, that checks with this right here. I'm going to keep on riding them until, we get up there. It's garbage. Slow. Let's see. NASDAQ needs another 50 points to hit 500 points. Looks like every 3 to 4% dip on NASDAQ is a valid strategy. Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's what I'm looking for. It's about a 4% dip on NASDAQ overall. Overall. $51.80. Call buying really picked up in the last hour. I'd say 45 minutes. Really started to spike. I'm telling you, man, the big thing that I have identified this week, which I hope y'all understand, is stay out of the first half hour, trade the first hour after that, and then stay away until about now. If you can do that, and don't FOMO into trades, and there's a couple of benefits to that. Aside from the obvious of obviously you're going to miss the chop, but you're going to be able to better identify the true definition of the market. You're going to be able to better identify what their target is on Bookmap, and you're going to be able to better identify where the afternoon positioning is for the option chain for these big moves. It does nothing but benefit you to wait out that morning the afternoon stuff, because all week long it's been midday nastiness. Midday nastiness. You don't need to be sitting here all day anyway. Took 300% of my SPY runners. Nice side gig. Well done. Still going. Still going. Mine's only at 55%. Slow. $18,350. Still going. I regret not entering. We were too shook from losing put decision. Hesitation eats me, but I'm sitting, listening, learning. Nice 503. Sweet stuff. Let me know if you have any questions. Unfortunately, that is the top of the hour, so we do have to call it. And yeah, so there's some red. There you go. There you go. So that is this is usually the kicks off of the afternoon session, right here at the top of the hour. This is when everything starts to shake and bake, right at the 2 p.m. time frame. So yeah, they heard me. So watch out for some volatility here. Let's see what happens. It should be a pretty interesting afternoon. So thank y'all for hanging out. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you next Thursday, 1 p.m. Until next time, I'm out. See ya.